Friendship is a notable human achievement. Let's take a look at what Wikipedia has to say about friendship. It says here, friendship is cooperative and supportive behavior between two or more people. In this sense, the term connotates a relationship which involves mutual knowledge, esteem, and affection and respect, along with a degree of rendering service to friends in times of need or crisis. I believe that it is up to us to not allow friendship to be downplayed. A real-life friend holds the same label as an online friend. However, no number of virtual friends is a substitute for real human interactions. Human beings crave connectedness. When we look for virtual connectedness, it may become obsessive and may result in isolation from real social interactions. Sites such as Facebook make these types of people feel more isolated and lonely than ever. This is an extreme view of looking at things. Let me introduce you to Facebook. Here's some information about it. Basically, it started off in 2004 as a college-only social network. It says here that there are 200 million active users, and then more than 100 users log on to Facebook at least once a day. The average user has 120 friends on the site. More than 4 billion minutes are spent on Facebook each day worldwide. More than 30 million users update their statuses at least once each day.
Oh, that was a question? Okay, wait. Okay, what was it?
I find myself interacting with people mainly through the Facebook chat or the wall-to-wall posts.
I would have to meet them and be friends with them in order for them to be my friend on Facebook.
So it's not just like an online relationship?
I don't have any random friends on Facebook, I guess.
I friend request people that I've met throughout the day or that I have a class with, just because it's easier to connect with them.
It's a really easy way. It's not awkward calling them out of the blue one day. It's a simple wall post or something like that.
And if I need to talk to them for a project or just get homework help or something,
Facebook means different things to different people. Some claim it allows them to connect and communicate with old friends from their childhood.
I have added people from old camps, summer camps, and elementary school.
I too have friended people from my childhood, but I don't really see myself interacting with them in the future if I have not already done so. Even though I don't talk to them, it's good to feel somewhat connected. Some of the interactions have been very brief, but others led to new introductions and friendships. Embarrassingly, I met my boyfriend of 2 years through a random Facebook message.
I find out more information on Facebook about my friends than I do just talking to them.
With their status, you could figure out what they're up to.
Or what they're interested in. A lot of people have a lot, detailed things.
Put pictures up from different events, like weddings or, parties that you have, so.
Because it kind of shows through your About Me section, your personality, how you word things.
Definitely Facebook gives you more info on your friends.
They'll tell me about an event they went to or something, and if I want to see how it was, I would creep on their pictures from it.
Let's look at Urban Dictionary's definition of a Facebook creeper. It says here, someone who looks at people's pictures and wall posts even though they've never talked to them before in their life. It's stalking for the online generation.
Facebook creeping is
when you allot time of your day to go on Facebook and just look at other people's pages for no reason at all.
Facebook creeping is going through someone's profile and looking at everything about it and judging it and whether or not, comparing it to other people and going through all of their pictures and seeing where they've been, who they hang out with.
You'll just kind of go from page to page of random people and look through their stuff.
With what they wore out the night before and going through all their statuses and all their wall posts and seeing the different walls to walls between people and looking at their conversations.
I feel like my friends have different definitions of Facebook creeping.
Okay, my definition of Facebook creeping is stalking the crap out of someone that you don't really know. So that's creepy. If I was looking at your pictures, that wouldn't be that creepy because I know you. I think creeping comes from creepy, so it's you pretty much know what one person's doing, their stats updates, you can see their pictures, and you're not friends with them. You don't really know them that well, and that's really creepy.
I definitely Facebook creep sometimes a little too much.
I think it's hard not to Facebook creep if you're on Facebook.
Sometimes it gets obsessive, but
sometimes you're just what's that? What are they talking about there?
I usually creep on people that I'm not really close friends with.
You're a creeper, huh?
I think everyone does it. People won't admit to it, but I think that everyone does.
It's a good way to find out information about people.
There's also a big downside to Facebook. Here's the larger issue.
Facebook does not lead to lower grades.
I don't think that Facebook leads to lower grades for me, but I know it could happen for other people.
Facebook leads to doing assignments or studying for tests longer because you're on Facebook instead of doing that.
But I usually, if I get on Facebook, like I'm just procrastinating anyways, so.
Yeah.
79% of Facebook users believe it has no impact on their academics.
Yeah, I don't know if I can say it leads to lower grades.
It can, because people think they're studying, but they're actually on Facebook,
But they're on Facebook,
and they say
yeah.
I studied for 2 hours.
Yeah.
They're on Facebook for 2 hours.
Or like their computer's right in front of them
So it
and you
doesn't
keep
count.
checking
But
it.
I think it does lead to lower grades because, like anything else, it's a huge distraction and that takes away from your studies.
A study done on 219 students at Ohio State University showed a link between Facebook and academic performance. Those students that used Facebook had a GPA between 3.0 and 3.5, and those who did not use Facebook averaged 3.5 to 4.0. In addition to this, the study showed that Facebook users spent 1 to 5 hours per week studying, while non-users studied for 11 hours or more. That's a large discrepancy.
How many times I access Facebook a day?
In the Ohio State University study, of the 68% of students who said they use Facebook, 65% access the site daily or multiple times a day.
Probably 100 times a day.
Probably depends. I mean, it depends on how much I have going on. Like,
Between 100 and 200, just like updating or just like quickly like checking my Facebook and if I get on my computer.
I check Facebook on my phone a lot.
as far as bringing it to class goes, I think one of the reasons why I bring my laptop to class is so that I can have a distraction such as Facebook.
Anytime I grab my phone because I also have my mail on my phone too, so I'll check my mail and then check my Facebook. I would say like once an hour.
If I bring it to class, I'm usually on Facebook the whole time, chatting to people or just like looking at updates. So it definitely increases.
It's something to make the time go by faster, so.
Still, as we all know, correlation does not imply causation. I believe that Facebook attracts college students with lower grades, more so than their higher achieving peers. This means those with lower GPAs are likely to be distracted by something such as Facebook. It doesn't help that Facebook made its network available across mobile devices as well, allowing us to be distracted on the go. I have Facebook distractions myself. I constantly check for photo tags after a night out. I find myself refreshing my notifications page to see what comments have been left on my latest album, or if any likes have been made on my recent status. I feel it's a very large distraction for myself.
As far as how often I go on it per week,
2 hours max.
Oh my god.
Between 3 or 4 hours every day, so like 28 hours a week or something.
I was gonna say 20.
Part-time job.
Well, let's see. 2 hours a day.
it's like hours spent, which is kind of sad, but hours, like multiple hours spent every day on it.
2 to 3 hours a day, and then on weekends.
I mean, I don't usually think, oh my gosh, I have to get home and check my Facebook. It's usually just if I'm bored and have nothing else to do. So
like all day Saturday, my computer's in front of me.
So maybe a little bit more, depending on the week.
Maybe we should turn this off. This is getting embarrassing. 20 hours? You should get paid.
Right?
I think it's really hard to figure out how many hours per week we spend on Facebook. In my case, it's always open in a tab on my browser, no matter what I'm doing. In all, Facebook is what you make of it. It's all about self-control. Too much of anything has negative consequences. Reevaluating my behavior, I learned that it has become a habit for me to log on to Facebook once I open a browser window. It is up to that person to allot their time wisely and not get trapped by the fun of Facebook. I believe that if you are a social person, this tool won't change the human interactions that you need or crave. It's only a tool, like a pen to paper.
It's like texting through like the computer.
I think it's a smart idea.
if it was someone's birthday and they're having people go out with them for it, they'll make an event
It sounds really cliche, but it like does connect people.
that you haven't talked to in a while, being like, hey, do you want to come out for my birthday?
Because you just like can quickly like send a little message.
Groups, it helps you connect with like similar people.
And it's really easy to keep in touch. You don't have to give someone like a phone call. You can like send them a Facebook message or something.
I believe it's a tool to connect the real world, not the virtual. I believe that the need to be socially connected is something hardwired in us. I was thinking about how Facebook is distracting to my life and why. I realized it was because of my inability to regulate my impulsiveness and my lack of focus. I found that this is actually causing me not to perform my best when I have a job to do on the computer. I believe we are responsible for our actions and we need to be more aware of our behaviors on the web. I believe Facebook is what you make of it. To some, it's addictive and has negative consequences, but to those who use it responsibly, it has many advantages.
To even like save papers, so you're not like putting out flyers. So like it's like an electronic way to get the word out.
Facebook gives people I guess, a mask to hide behind so they can contact people and talk without confronting
And
anyone.
also, like, if you need to, like, really get a hold of someone, they're more likely to check their Facebook. If they're not, like, picking up their phone, they're probably going to check it at least a couple times a day because most of us are pretty addicted to it.
If you're like having like a downtime, it kind of like takes over your life, like as a distraction.
In any given situation, we need to evaluate our behaviors and determine if it's damaging in terms of academics or social interactions. We need to realize Facebook is here to stay, and it's only going to evolve. Personally, I think Facebook is great. With balance, it can help us grow by keeping us connected to the real world. Perhaps those who condone Facebook as a severe distraction should study the effects of other classic college distractions, like video games or drinking.